Awesome. Straight back into the action as Zerg morphs a couple of banelings, but they can't actually engage efficiently against that, so he's actually just running away, as he needs these Zerglings and banelings to engage efficiently. But Terran has an incredibly good concave here, as the moment he steps into this area, he's both crushed into a small area and hammered absolutely dreadfully by these tanks. So xpOxy is now going to be doing a couple of drops, while I think xpRallerbabs is going to be trying to push into this main. Although it looks like he's scouted this force quite well, using these burrowed banelings, which I love. But he's not going to be able to do anything because the command centre is flying and he doesn't have mutalisks. Unsieged by the tanks is going to lead to being able to do absolutely tons of damage, as the Zerg crashes straight through, killing pretty much all of the every single tank and quite a lot of Marines and Marauders, and every single infestor has stayed alive, but everything else has all died, which is a fine trade for the Zerg. Believes Terran's slightly sad. Unfortunately though, they're both not doing incredibly well with their macro, so they could both be maxed happily, and Zerg could have Hive, but an Ultralist or Broodlords, but his macro isn't quite allowing him to, as his Queens are on full energy. I'm not sure what happened with these drops, but not many workers. A couple of workers have gone down. 10 in the entire game, so I guess maybe 6 or 7 went down in the 2 drops that went just a bit earlier, as the Terran now actually tries to move out with these full 10 Marines production off these barracks, which allow him to catch up in his macro very efficiently if he wants to. Very good tank placement here, although it wants to be sieged. The infestors come in, these banelings crashing straight through the tanks, and Marauders into the Marines in the back. Not efficient, but it works. And what the Zerg needs to worry about is these medevacs, because he now has 6 and another 4 back at home, which slowly mean that the fungal growths just stop doing damage, which is incredibly bad for Zerg if they're not adding a ton of banelings in, which fortunately xpRallerbabs is, but it does limit his ability to do very much else otherwise. 2 spies now coming up for xpRallerbabs, which I think is probably meaning that he's going to be going for both upgrades at the same time as a Greater Spire. So he wants to go incredibly strongly into Greater Spire to crush the Terran if he can survive that long. But unfortunately, he's moving. The Terran's actually moving out. But he hasn't sieged, and the Zerg's seen it. But he's now running back. These tanks need to siege up. There we go. As every single infestor runs straight through it, but fortunately they're soaking up the damage, which the Zerglings managed to help avoid. But you could have happily lost 4 infestors right there. The Terran's actually now maxed with his all of his massive production. 10 barracks, and he's now doing a slow tank push, using these tanks to push straight into the Zerg, as in the same way that I said earlier. But the problem is, at the moment he comes too far forwards, the Zerg will just be able to get incredibly good surround on his entire army. Boo. Dear. What are the upgrades like? 3-2 and 0-1. So they're quite very strong upgrades actually for the Terran, while the Zerg is only on 2-2. While the upgrades are efficient for both sides, the Zerg will not engage very efficiently with the Terran Marines and tanks. Although it looks like he's being able to hold the Terran in place just through his creep spread and his army positioning from not wanting to come through, but now a couple more tanks are being sieged up to move further through, and his incredibly strong position, which will be hard for him to break as small Terran groups are running forwards. Sooner or later the Zerg will just get impatient and there we go, run forwards, but he won't find any luck there, as the tanks never seem to end. The Marines are running back, and everything is dying, apart from the Terran, as he now runs straight through with his Marines, dropping down an absolute ton of infested Terrans, but it doesn't matter, because the Terran can push straight through with his Marines and very high medevac count to go straight through. But this is an amazing fungal right there, and if he lands a second one on this group here, there is one, then everything is incredibly low health, and if two more get put down, these medevacs, like I said, they just stop anything from ever dying. But it looks like these, I'm not sure, will he be able to clear it up? No, he won't. These medevacs are so good. Every single Marine nearly has a medevac to its own. And there's a couple of tanks which for some reason aren't staying on siege. I'm not sure why, but they're actually doing quite well there. This tanks do incredibly high DPS if they're just attacking units on their own. Hopefully he'll siege up when he gets up the ramp, so he's got a very good defensive advantage position onto the low ground, as the Terran is now pushing forwards again with all of his medevacs, and the infestors are unable to help push forwards, and there's only two left as the Zerg is slowly dying, and xpOxy lags out. Will he lag all the way out? That is the question. Is it an orb? No. That's the rule. If you disconnect, then you lose. Ten seconds left. It looks like he's going to drop, I think. And yeah, 0 seconds left. Do we want to do a regame?